Justin Gaethje, Ian Garry, both guys been bitching and moaning. The fighters nowadays are so entitled. We're gonna go through some stuff here, guys. We have some news about the China card, Ian Garry's thoughts about JDM and Belal. Gaethje is mad about not getting a title shot. And some predictions and stuff. We start off with Ian Garry. I think that's fair. So let's listen here, guys. What do Ian Garry think about Belal and JDM?
I watched it live, right? Which means I'm watching it through my eyes, which I know how fast I am. I know real time. And I thought both of them looked slow from watching it with my own eyes. Then I watched it back on TV and it was a completely different.
Comes from the guy that. Did you see his last fight against Carlos Prates? Running away. Oh, that's his style against Jeff Neal. He couldn't finish Neil Magny. And you're dumping on Jack that fucking. Oh. That Fantin. I said Fantin. He's pissing on JDM who was fanting. Who was finishing Gilbert Burns. And, he's a warrior, man. He smacked up Belal. Ian Garry's such a whiny little... Oh, I can't stand Ian Garry. I can't stand him.
Look, Jack looked a hell of a lot cleaner than he did in person. And he looked a lot faster when you're just watching him versus Belal. But when you're sat front row, you're watching it. I'm watching it as if I'm in there. That's my mentality. But yeah, I think there was a lot of things Jack did that I thought were quite sloppy. But technically he was the better striker, so he was going to win that regardless. Belal has never been known for his striking.
Yeah, you can say that again. Like, dude, Belal never been known. Didn't Belal say, I'm from Pet Chicago. I'm the Canelo of UFC. Bye. This is Belal. Yeah. Ian Garry is a bitch as usual. We know what that he liked to watch from ringside, also from bedside, when his wife is having fun with other men, other men, living with ex-husband, taking his. Ian Garry did take his wife's ex-husband's last name. I just want you guys to think about that, and we kind of doesn't need to talk about Ian Garry anymore. Bye-bye. If you agree, like, subscribe. Anyway, yeah, I think we're done with Ian Garry, really. He's annoying. He's trying to shit on them. Good for him. He's not deserving of a title shot. We'll see what's next for Ian Garry, because I don't know. I just think we needed to talk about that a little bit, what he said, and that he's delusional. And he tried to backtrack from Kate's side, I thought, but they're watching it back. But then he goes back after, then giving JDM compliment. But then he goes back, I thought he was pretty sloppy. Yeah. It's better, it's like DDP, it's better to be sloppy and landing and, finishing people, be effective, be aggressive, winning fights. Last time I checked, Ian Garry isn't undisputed champion. I just wanted to say that. So Garry, F off. Justin, the highlight game. John Anik. These two guys is currently fighting a battle to see their children. Chris Gutierrez has a 5-month-old and he can't see his kids. People forget, man. He can't see his kids. He said, Justin Gaethje, man. Look at those leg kicks. That's like Petro Hisso. That's like Benson Henderson who started the calf kicks. People forget, man. Justin Gaethje, he's a marauder. He's a marauder. He's a marfangatang. Listen here when I scroll. So first one, Justin Gaethje has left seating after finding about UFC title fight. Gaethje was pissed that he was passed over. Frustrated, Justin Gaethje hungry for title shot. Says Gaethje was irritated. Gaethje demands title shot. Was pissed. Do you see the entitlement for a guy being on a 1-fight winning streak, beating Fiziev for a second time, short notice? What was it, number 13, 14 in the rankings? I know, like, Gaethje, thank you for giving us you out stiff against Max. Gaethje, of course, was deserving of the title shot in 2024. He just came off a great performance against Fiziev, knocking out Dustin. It was pretty clear that he should be next, but yeah, just because you did a great thing and gave us like one of the biggest UFC moments ever, gave us that big moment, that big fight against Max against at UFC 300. But just because you did that favor for UFC, I talked in my last video about favors, stepping up on short notice and all that. But that doesn't mean that you lose, get flatlined by a featherweight, and then get flatlined by a featherweight, and then can beat number 13 and go straight into a title shot. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. Sorry, dude. Like, listen, I wouldn't even be. The thing is, I want to see Gaethje versus Islam. I think it's pretty fun to see guys that Khabib fought and compare Islam with the guys he fought. Of course, it wasn't the same Dustin that fought Islam and Khabib. Of course, he was older against Islam, but funny enough, he did better against Islam, so it's funny. But I just think it's so entitled. These guys, they do it. Gaethje, he, of course, beating Tony and being on a win streak against Barbosa, Cerrone. Of course, that he earned the title shot against Khabib, being interim champion. Of course, he beat Michael Chandler. Sorry, he lost to Khabib. Came back after a year off, I believe, like 13 months off. Beat Michael Chandler by decision. Couldn't even finish him. And then a few months later, walked right back into a title shot against Charles Oliveira on 1-fight win streak. I didn't hate the fight. I liked Gaethje Oliveira. But just so you people understand that he has been very privileged by the UFC. First fight, Michael Johnson. Second fight, Eddie Alvarez. Dustin Poirier. Yeah, he went down a little bit against James Vick, but right back into big Barbosa, Cerrone, Tony, Khabib, Chandler, Oliveira, Fiziev, Dustin, Max at 300. He of course was booked against Hooker, and he got injured. That's why Fiziev stepped in and made a rematch. But like, this dude doesn't have anything to complain about. You beat Fiziev, number 13, 14, whatever. Now beat. Dude, you doesn't even have to beat a top 5, really. Beat a Gamrot, a Hooker, Dan Hooker, YouTube. That's a name. In Australia, in the UFC. Daniel Hook. Oh, I probably shouldn't say the name. But beat Gamrot or Dan Hook. So, yeah. And you got the title shot. 100%. So, yeah. I mean, you see here when I scroll, just like... He talks like it. I mean, we know he got CTE. You know when you hear Justin Gaethje talk. Like, how does Justin Gaethje sound? I think it's like title shot. That's probably my worst impression yet. China. China. Great. Okay, so we got. First UFC China card since 2019. So we have in mainland China, Fight Night in Shanghai. That's pretty good, right? So it looks like we have August 22nd UFC Fight Night Shanghai in prime time on Saturday. What? Anyway, August 22nd or August 23rd, China, Shanghai Fight Night, great. Okay, Saturday, August 23rd. Yeah, that's nice. That's good, right? Yeah, I think that's good. Back in China after 6 years. That's crazy. I actually thought about who you should put on that card. Of course, you can look here. It's pretty obvious, of course. We got the strawweight champion. Wait, wouldn't it be perfect? When did Valentina Shevchenko fight? Now in May, right? Oh, nah. June, July, August. Was it? No, okay. That would kind of be like a perfect main event, right? Champion versus champion in China. Yang Weili versus Shevchenko, and I believe Shevchenko. I don't know where she lives, if she lives in the US, but doesn't she train at like Tiger Muay Thai or something? And that's right over there, I think. I mean, that's actually a women's fight I would be interested in. Maybe. After just pissing on them for an entire video. But yeah, Weili and Shevchenko, but that's probably too soon for Shevchenko. You know what? UFC has been so shit lately that I wouldn't even be surprised if Weili isn't on the card, that they book like Shevchenko, Weili for like October, November, MSG or whatever, and like that the only like ranked or like maybe we get Song Yadong and you know Yan Shangnan, whatever his name is, like. But UFC, of course, should definitely do like. Question was what should be the main event if we. Of course, we could do bigger main events, but if we're going for China main event, I mean, of course, Song Yadong could main event. He just beat Cejudo. You could do. Of course, Song Yadong had already lost to Sandhagen, and you could do Song Yadong. Maybe Song Yadong. Umar Nurmagomedov would be fine. But otherwise, honestly, just for the Chinese market and the Chinese fans, if Shevchenko ain't ready, which would be great if she was, but if she ain't ready, I don't think there's any rush in that fight. I imagine Weili would want to fight. So just book the main event like Weili versus a top contender. I don't care about the division, I don't even know. But yeah, the thing is, I would rather see Song Yadong versus like Umar or Corey Sandhagen 2. Yeah, Peter. Like a big name in the bantamweight division would be great, I think. But yeah, of course on the card, Yang Weili, Song Yadong should be on the, Li Jingliang, Yan Shangnan. Of course we got, what's the name of that guy that beat Anthony Smith? Shang Mingyang? That's what it is. Yang Mingyang. Anthony Smith versus Yang Mingyang. I think that's the guy, light heavyweight. He should definitely be on the card. He didn't take any damage against Smith. So, I mean, if they want to do like a good China card, put what usually is a 6-fight card. So they should put. Do they still have Sumuduriyari? Okay. Yeah. So I would do a main card, 6 fights on a fight night. Start off with a fight with Sumudari. I know who he is, but I can't pronounce. Sorry, Chinese market, I can't pronounce it. Sorry, I'm Swedish. I barely can pronounce English. So start off the card with Sumudari. Then you can do Yan Shangnan. And then I will do Li Jingliang. And then of course we do Yang Mingyang. I believe his name was, who beat Smith, so Yang Mingyang. Co-main event, I guess do Song Yadong versus Sandhagen 2 or versus Umar Nurmagomedov. And then main event, Yang Weili versus Shevchenko if she's ready, if not, a top contender. Whoever that would be, I don't know. So nice for China, getting a first card back there in 6 years. I thought we could finish off with some stuff here. So we got in about a week's time. I've already ranted about this too, but in a week's time we got Blanchfield and Barber. Main event. 2 weeks off. Sorry guys, sometimes I just need to like, Andreas Gustafsson, for you guys that aren't Swedish. You see here, Trevin Giles versus you would say like Andreas Gustafsson, of course Alexander Gustafsson. How you pronounce his name is Andreas Gustafsson. Andreas Gustafsson. It's like Scarlett Johansson. You don't say Johansson. I mean, I would imagine her last name comes from Swedish background. I actually don't know. But we don't say Johansson, we say Johansson. But yeah, so Andreas Gustafsson. Let's go Sweden. Andreas Gustafsson. I'm gonna go with Gustafsson over Trevin Giles because Giles suck. I would go with Ketlin Vieira because she's basically a man. Oban Elliott, don't disrespect the fighters. Don't disrespect the fighters. From Wales, dude. Dustin Jacob is the man. I'm still pissed that he got robbed by Khalil Roundtree Jr. because he cried because he was black and fat when he was young. Not my fault. Yeah, so Jacob definitely beat Khalil. So that's sad. I believe he comes off a great knockout in his last fight, I think. Wasn't it the card in like December, late card where was it Cobb Swanson got a great KO? I believe Jacob got over Vitor Petrino, I think. Like the Usman Masvidal KO. Jacob KO'd Vitor Petrino, I believe, yeah. Was the main event Figueiredo Jan? I don't remember actually. But I'm going with Jacoby over Bruno Lopez. Gamrot versus Klein. People forget, man. Ludwig Klein is a marauder. Shout out Guru. I love that. I think it's pretty obvious that Gamrot will win. He's a good fighter. Ludwig Klein is pretty bad. How the fuck did Ludwig Klein get number 7 Gamrot? Ludwig Klein isn't even close to the rankings, I don't believe. Has he ever been ranked? Main event, Blanchfield Barber. Yeah, I think we're done there. And yeah, man. People forget, man. Ludwig Klein is a marauder. Barber is a man. Yeah, as I said before, Blanchfield's nose is disgusting. Barber's face isn't something I would sit on. But yeah, I'm definitely going with Aaron Blanchfield. So please tell me what you think about in the comments. Who do you think win in Blanchfield Barber? What do you think about Ian Garry bitching like he did better? What do you think about Justin Gaethje sounding like a twat? And we got the card in China.